I think there's a basic difference between the government and the private sector. Okay? In the private sector, you basically are responsible to your boss or at most the board of directors, right? Not beyond. In the government sector, you are responsible not only to your executives, but you are also responsible to answer to the legislation. The scope of responsibility or the responsibility chain is quite different. Okay, in the government sector, the responsibility chain is a lot bigger than the private sector. In the private sector, basically you can establish a system that is purely based on trust. Okay, trust. You trust your employees that they will do their job well, and the performance of your employee, basically you're responsible. You're responsible to your immediate executive. Okay, and so as long as your performance is okay, then there would not be too much challenge to the performance of your employee. Right? So under this trust spirit, you can really set up a lot of systems, a lot of practices that allows flexibility, innovation within the work practice. But on the other hand, on the government side, as I mentioned earlier, you have to be responsible all the way to every step of the bureaucracy and even beyond your administration into the legislation. Okay, so although your employee are performing good enough, but you have to justify the trust to the outsiders, the legislation. This flexibility is a lot smaller than the private sector. The governments can definitely learn more from the private sector than the other way around, but not to the degree of, say, the full trust that is established within the private sector. In Google, every employee is entitled to have 20% of his work time spent on whatever topics he like to choose, as long as his executive, his immediate manager, agree. 20% of your work time, that's 1 day out of 5 working days each week. That's a lot. If you come up with some very tangible outcome using your free, say, research time, okay, Google has the right, but because you are using Google's working time, right? So Google has the right to take your outcome and then push it to the next step. In a traditional company, other than Google, say, in most companies in Taiwan, I doubt companies have this kind of flexibility. Okay?
Yeah.
And so the employees will complain, well, there's no free space, there's no innovation in the company I'm working. So this is really a bad company, something like that, all right? In Google, if you feel, well, this company is very, very close-minded, not seeing far enough, then you can propose something new for yourself, right? So if you do that for a year, then at the end of the year, you present this result to your manager. And so if you complain about the innovation and the open-mindedness of the company, then it's really up to you to show that I have something better than what the company assigned me to do. Okay. And then you present this result, and then if the result is really convincing, then the company can say, well, then we can set a new project based on your idea and carry that further. Then the company would, of course, invest more people. They would form a project team. They would allocate some budget, and then your idea could have this opportunity to grow into a more, more tangible things, right? So this is something that I mentioned that in the private sector, Google, I think, is one of the extreme that you can really allow flexibility. I mean, 20% of your work time, that's a lot. That's saying the salary you are paying to your employees, 20% of the salary budget is actually used to support free-minded
kind of like a bonus then.
or research,
Very
right?
large
Okay.
bonus.